Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 5:30 News on KPAX, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, I'm Jill Valley.
And I'm Dennis Bragg. We begin tonight with a tragic situation in Florida. At least 17 people are dead, multiple others injured when a former student opened fire at a high school in Parkland, Florida. Law enforcement reports the suspect appears to have pulled the school fire alarm, causing chaos, and then he started shooting.
The suspect has been identified as 19-year-old Nick Cruz. He was arrested without incident off campus after a manhunt. Nikki Batiste has the latest from the scene.
Students ran from Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, some with hands in the air or behind their heads as officers rushed to the scene. The school superintendent confirmed a number of victims are dead.
There are numerous fatalities. It's a horrific situation.
Early reports say as many as 20 may be injured. Some of the victims were seen being loaded into ambulances. Frightened students posted photos and videos on social media, some of it graphic and disturbing. Worried parents rushed to the scene.
He said that he heard shot, he saw a dead body.
About an hour after the first reports of the shooting, police handcuffed a young man and put him into a patrol car. That came after armored vehicles had pulled up with heavily armed officers who ran with guns pointed towards this three-story building in the Fort Lauderdale suburb. After students filtered out by the dozens, law enforcement swept through each building to make sure everyone was safely evacuated. Nikki Batiste, CBS News, New York.
More than 3,000 students attend that high school. We'll have the latest for you tonight at 10 o'clock. Turning our attention now to local weather, we'll see some snow and wind return to the region, but what about the weekend? For that, let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Aaron Yost in the Storm Tracker Weather Center.
You know, things are going to stay very active here for the next few days across northern Rockies. Our break will be tomorrow on Thursday across the region. Right now, though, dealing with scattered snow showers and starting to create some issues for some folks traveling out there. This is Hamilton earlier, our First Security Bank iCam today. You can see those scattered snow showers. Actually, just a short while ago, Interstate 15 from Shelby all the way to the Canadian border has been closed due to severe driving conditions. We're getting a lot of reports of some spin-offs on Highway 93 in the Summers area. So take it safe out there. We do have these winter weather advisories in place right through tomorrow morning. More details and what we can expect this snowy weekend coming up.
The superintendent of Missoula Water tells the city council the department has been fixing a lot of problems since taking over from the privately held Mountain Water Company last summer. But Dennis Bowman says the city is making good progress with everything from equipment to customer service. He told the council's committee of the whole assuming control of the utility started off with an immediate challenge when the entire water system was about to run out of chlorine, right when Missoula took over.
There was question whether there was enough chlorine on site to be able to last the weekend. And so they asked me about it. I said, get it, bring it in. So that Friday, they delivered and filled all the chlorine vats up. So that way we had plenty of chlorine to get through.
Missoula leaders had known there were a number of serious issues with the mountain water system, which they acquired through an expensive condemnation case that lasted for more than 2 years. There were problems with leakage and equipment, but Bowman tells the council there have been unexpected problems too, such as thousands of water meters where the batteries hadn't been replaced.
The previous owners did a lot of meter change-outs back then. They did a little over 2,000 meters in 2006 and 7. So because that action back then, we're paying for it now because those meters are starting to die.
He tells us if customers are noticing problems, they should call Missoula Water for service.
Environmental Protection Agency staff are getting closer to finishing their sampling for toxins and contaminants at the old Smurfett Stone mill site in Frenchtown. But they say they're also planning more sampling of soils, ponds, and the Clark Fork River this spring and summer to fill in data gaps as they assess the environmental risk. EPA officials tell Frenchtown residents they're close to releasing what they call their draft baseline plan by the end of this month. That plan is based on all the sampling the agency has been doing on the Smurfett site for the past couple of years. EPA is focusing now on the two sections known as OU2 and OU3. That covers the interior of the old linerboard mill and the uplands where the former cooling ponds and dikes abut the Clark Fork River.
You look at a huge suite of contaminants. So what we're trying to do is kind of hone down that list and to try to determine what's important ecologically. What are we finding at levels that may be of ecological concern?
Outside of some hot spots at the very center of the mill, the EPA says many of those samples are coming back at levels below where there are concerns for exposure to wildlife and the environment. But Sanchez says the agency will collect more samples this spring and summer to be sure.
More sediment more water samples from the Clark Fork River, both upstream and downstream of the site. There are also several ponds on the site in OU3 that are potentially important ecologically for waterfowl. And we don't have any water or sediment data from those ponds, so we want to collect that data.
At the same time, EPA is looking at risks to Frenchtown residents. Again, outside of groundwater contamination in the heart of the mill, there haven't been any surprises.
The groundwater and the manganese specifically and cobalt in the groundwater for workers on site was a driver for risk. So that presented a risk. With respect to recreators and folks that are using the river, the non-cancer hazards and the cancer hazards both from soils appear to be within guidelines. And then for the general population fisher, the recreational fisher, risks from consumption of fish are approaching but within the EPA guidelines.
EPA says they're also taking off-site river contamination into account. In other words, impacts from historic mining and other activities elsewhere in the Clark Fork watershed. The latest development this week is that owners of the Smurfit site have filed deed restrictions which will prevent future residential development at Smurfit Stone, which also means a lower threshold for cleanup.
Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks says the popular Bitterroot River access north of Stevensville is open again, but people accessing the river need to make sure they're following the rules. The access north of Stevie has been popular with anglers and people recreating on that river for years. The previous landowner closed off the entire area last summer after dealing with too many complaints of illegal parking and partying there. However, it changed when Las Vegas businesswoman Mila Yaras purchased the ranch, which also includes the Fort Owen Historical Site last fall. Yaris was in favor of allowing access as long as people can follow the rules. The concrete barriers were moved a few weeks ago, and now FWP says the private lands fishing access agreement allows people to access the river and launch boats as long as they stay within the prescribed boundaries and used marked parking areas. FWP will provide site maintenance and enforce the rules. The state says it will work on long-range plans for the site, which will include additional improvements. A Missoula man will spend 5 years in the Department of Corrections for sexually assaulting a 9-year-old boy.
Then I admit it. What? I admit it. You do? Yes. We have a document.
Joshua Moody was charged with sexually assaulting a child repeatedly over a 9-month span back in December of 2016. The assaults were discovered when the 9-year-old told his parents of being touched inappropriately over his clothes. Moody was living at the victim's home at the time of the assaults. Today, Missoula District Court Judge Dusty Deshaw sentenced Moody to 50 years with 45 suspended in the Department of Corrections. Moody will not be eligible for parole or any community placement treatment until he completes Phase 1 of the sex offender treatment program. He will also have to register as a Level 2 sex offender.
In the Flathead, crews remained on the scene of that blaze that destroyed a storage unit building yesterday as investigators continue to look out for a cause. The firefighters from Marion Fire Department were there monitoring those hot spots at the building which burned yesterday afternoon. Fortunately, no one was hurt. Fire investigators are trying to scour the scene for clues onto how the fire started. Katie Mask, Marion's fire chief, says they hope to know more in the coming days. She says she's grateful for the support of South Kalispell, West Valley, and Smith Valley fire departments for responding and helping them knock down the blaze quickly. The building had 30 storage units. Mask said while the owner's valuables were destroyed, they're just thankful that no one was hurt.
I talked to a couple of the people who had belongings in the unit, in the units, and overall everybody was just grateful that, there's no lives lost or nobody was hurt.
3 of the storage unit buildings there at that site were not damaged.
Coming up after the break, how young is too young for screen time? We go on special assignment for an in-depth look at technology and its impact on toddlers.